Have you ever felt like the world is moving too fast, and you're the only one struggling to stay centered? Like you're stuck in a storm with no shelter, while everyone else seems to be walking through life untouched? That feeling isn't weakness. It's the weight of constant noise, pressure, and uncertainty pressing against your mind, demanding reactions you don't even have time to process. In today's world, chaos is everywhere. On the roads, in your inbox, in your relationships, and even in your own thoughts. And yet, some people walk through it all with calm in their eyes and strength in their silence. You wonder how. You wonder why you can't seem to find that peace for yourself. The truth is, life doesn't slow down. The world doesn't get easier, but your mind can get stronger. You can train yourself to find calm not when everything is perfect, but especially when everything is falling apart. That's the difference between surviving and thriving. Calm isn't about avoiding pressure. It's about mastering your internal world so completely that no external force can shake it. That power lives inside you. It always has. But we're not taught how to access it. We're taught to respond, to defend, to react. We live in a world of urgency and noise, where silence is misunderstood and calm is mistaken for weakness. But what if you could shift that? What if, instead of getting pulled into the chaos, you became the anchor? The eye in the storm. What would change in your life if you could stay calm no matter what came your way? Everything. Your decisions would become clearer. Your relationships would feel safer. Your confidence would grow. You'd stop saying things you regret. You'd stop spiraling into doubt or fear. Instead, you'd respond with strength, purpose, and control. You'd stop being pushed around by the world and start shaping your place in it. That kind of calm doesn't come from wishing. It comes from training. It comes from rewiring the way your mind works under pressure. And yes, it's possible. Not just for monks or gurus, but for you, right here, right now. And that's why this message matters. Because if you stay with this, if you lean into this truth and commit to building a calm mind, you will begin to transform your entire life. This isn't about ignoring your emotions. It's about learning to work with them instead of against them. It's about choosing how to respond instead of letting the world decide for you. You're here because something inside you knows there's more. More control, more strength, more peace. And you're right, there is. So don't walk away from this. Don't let the chaos win. Stay. Keep watching. Because by the end of this, you'll have the tools to change your mind, and through it change your world. You're not powerless. You're just one decision away from the calm you've been searching for all along. Calm isn't weakness. It's power, silent, steady, and unshakable. In a world that rewards loud voices and fast reactions, staying calm is a rebellious act of strength. When everyone else is panicking, the calm mind sees clearly. When pressure rises, the calm mind becomes sharper, more focused, more in control. That's not a natural talent. It's not something you're born with or without. It's a decision, a skill, a mental edge that you can develop. And once you do, you become dangerous in the best way possible, because nothing rattles you, nothing breaks you, nothing pulls you away from who you are. Every time you've lost control, said something you didn't mean, or made a choice you regretted, it wasn't because you were weak. It was because you didn't yet know how to master the moment. The storm was bigger than your training, but that can change. You don't have to keep being pulled around by your emotions, your doubts, or your fear. You can train your mind to remain calm, focused, and powerful, even in the most intense situations. That's not just emotional intelligence. That's personal freedom. When you learn to stay calm, you stop being a slave to your surroundings. You stop reacting based on fear or frustration, and you start responding from a place of clarity. You can handle the unexpected. You can face difficult conversations. You can stand firm when everything feels uncertain. And more than that, you earn the respect of others. Because people feel safe around calm. They trust it, they're drawn to it. It's rare, it's valuable. And when you develop it, your energy becomes magnetic. Your presence changes rooms, not by force, but by quiet confidence. Think about what you've already survived. Think about the pressure you've felt, the pain you've endured, the moments where everything inside you wanted to explode or break. You're still here. You didn't come this far to stay trapped in reaction. You're here to take ownership of your life. Calm is how you do that. It's how you reclaim control over your thoughts, your actions, your future. That's the power you've been missing. And yes, it takes practice. It takes commitment. But it also takes one powerful belief, that you are not your reaction. You are not your panic. You are not your fear. You are the one observing it. And once you realize that, everything changes. You can step back. You can breathe. You can decide. In that space, even just a few seconds, is where your true power lives. This is how leaders are made. This is how unshakable confidence is built. Not through pretending nothing affects you, but through learning how to respond when everything does. That's calm. That's what makes you unstoppable. And the best part? You don't need to wait. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. Because the calm mind isn't out there somewhere. It's already within you. And it's time you brought it to the surface. Your mind wasn't built to keep you calm. It was built to keep you alive. That's why under stress, it panics. It doesn't think. It reacts. It searches for danger, even when there isn't any. It floods your body with fear, tension, and doubt. That's biology. But survival mode isn't where your best decisions are made. It's not where your strength lives. Your real power begins when you learn to interrupt that automatic response. When you stop letting fear take the wheel and start training your brain to respond with clarity, not chaos. Inside your brain, there's a constant battle between the part that reacts and the part that reasons. One screams, the other speaks. Most people live their lives being pulled by the louder voice, the one that panics, assumes the worst, and demands immediate action. But when you train your mind, you strengthen the quieter voice. You give it space. You teach it to stay awake while everything else screams to shut down. And with repetition, that calm response becomes automatic. It becomes your default. You become the one who thinks clearly when others don't. It's not about ignoring your feelings. It's about not letting them control you. Emotions are not enemies. They're signals. But you don't have to obey every signal. You don't have to feed every fear or act on every impulse. You can acknowledge them without being consumed by them. That's the essence of mental training, choosing your response before the moment chooses it for you. Calm doesn't mean you're unaffected. It means you're aware enough to stay steady even when you are. This shift begins with a choice, to stop trusting every thought just because it's loud, to stop following every emotion just because it's intense. Your mind can lie, your fear can exaggerate, but your calm, your deep, trained calm, is honest. It sees through the fog. It's the part of you that doesn't flinch, that doesn't fold, that stands tall while the noise tries to break you. That's not luck. That's not personality. That's the result of doing the work others avoid. And the reward? It's massive. When you train your mind to stay calm, you stop living in survival mode. You start making decisions based on vision, not fear. You start showing up as the version of yourself you always knew existed but couldn't access under pressure. That version is calm, clear, and fully present. And the more you train, the more it becomes who you are. Not just in quiet moments, but in the hardest ones. You don't need to live at the mercy of your reactions. You don't need to keep regretting how you handled things. You have a choice, right now, to stop being a prisoner of panic and start becoming the master of your mind. The calm you're chasing isn't a mystery. It's a method. And the moment you choose to train for it, everything starts to change. This is where your inner power begins. This is where you rise. Awareness is the beginning of all change. You cannot control what you're not aware of. You can't master what you refuse to see. Most people live in reaction. They feel something and instantly respond. No space, no pause, no choice. But the moment you become aware, truly aware, of what's happening inside you, you create the most powerful space there is. The space between stimulus and response. That space is your power. That space is your freedom. And it starts with noticing. Notice the tightness in your chest. Notice the racing thoughts. Notice the urge to lash out, to run, to shut down. But don't fight it. Don't label it as bad. Just observe. Because the moment you observe without judgment, you weaken its grip. Your awareness becomes the light in the dark. It doesn't erase what you feel, but it helps you see it clearly. It puts you back in the driver's seat. You stop being dragged by emotion and start guiding it. That's how calm begins, not by controlling the world, but by becoming conscious of your own inner world. You've been told to be strong. You've been told not to show emotion. But strength isn't suppression. Strength is presence. It's being so aware of what's happening inside that nothing catches you off guard. You begin to feel the wave of anger before it crashes. You begin to see the fear before it speaks. And instead of reacting blindly, you choose. That's real control. Not over others, over yourself. When you notice your triggers, your habits, your patterns, you begin to change them. Awareness disrupts the cycle. It brings clarity to confusion. You start to realize that you are not your emotions. You're the one who notices them. And that realization alone can change your life. You are the witness. And in that role you have power most people never access. This is the first step to mastering calm. Watching yourself without shame, without panic, without running away. Just being there, fully present with what is. And in that presence your nervous system slows. Your thoughts settle. Your breathing softens. You become grounded again. Calm isn't far away. It's just hidden beneath the noise. And awareness is how you reach it. Every time you choose to notice instead of react, you strengthen your mind. You teach your brain a new pattern. You prove that you're no longer living on autopilot. You're awake now. You're intentional. And when you live that way, your life changes because your energy changes. People feel it. You feel it. You start to trust yourself again. You stop fearing your own reactions because you know you can handle what comes. You don't need to fix everything at once. Just start noticing. Start observing without judgment. That's where growth begins. That's where calm begins. And every time you practice it, your mind becomes stronger, steadier, more grounded. You're not here to survive chaos. You're here to rise above it. This is your training. This is your edge. Stay aware. Stay conscious. That's how you win. You are not your emotions. You are the one who sees them, feels them, experiences them, but they are not who you are. They pass through you, but they do not define you. This is the next layer of calm, detachment. Not disconnection, not avoidance. Detachment means observing without becoming. It means feeling without drowning. It means knowing something is real, but refusing to let it rule you. Most people are slaves to what they feel. They believe that if they're angry, they have to shout. If they're afraid, they have to run. But you don't have to act on every emotion. You can learn to sit with it, breathe through it, and let it pass without letting it take your power. Your thoughts will lie to you. Your emotions will pull you into stories that don't serve you. But when you detach, when you step back and watch instead of react, you begin to take your mind off autopilot. You see the anger rising, and instead of becoming it, you witness it. You name it. You say to yourself, "This is anger." You feel the anxiety tighten your chest, and instead of spiraling, you breathe and say, "This is fear." The moment you name it, you gain space. The moment you label it, you loosen its grip. You create just enough distance to choose something better. This isn't cold. It's not emotionless. It's maturity. It's strength. It's mental discipline. Because nothing is stronger than someone who feels deeply but still holds their center. You can be furious and still stay calm. You can be overwhelmed and still speak with clarity. You can feel broken and still move forward with grace. That's power. That's growth. And it doesn't happen by accident. It happens through awareness and detachment, through the discipline of stepping back before you step forward. Don't confuse this with weakness. Detachment is not giving up. It's letting go of the illusion that every emotion must become an action. It's taking your power back from the noise inside you. When you stop identifying with your emotions, you stop being manipulated by them. You see them for what they are: energy, movement, signals. Not truths, not commands. You are not your frustration. You are not your sadness. You are the one who notices, accepts, and chooses what comes next. And that choice is everything. That choice is how you become unshakable. Because life will never stop testing you. People will challenge you. Pressure will build. But when you learn to step back, detach, and breathe, you stop being reactive. You start becoming intentional. You no longer give the world permission to dictate your inner state. You become the calm in the chaos, the one who sees clearly, the one who holds the line. This is who you're becoming. Not someone who avoids emotion, but someone who no longer fears it. Someone who doesn't get swept away, but stays grounded in the storm. That's not a fantasy. That's a skill. And with every breath, with every pause, with every moment of conscious detachment, you are building it. Breathe. Not the shallow automatic breath you've been taking all day, but a deep, conscious breath that pulls you back into the present moment. That single act, intentional breathing, can change everything, because the breath is the one thing that is always with you. And when chaos rises, when emotions flood, when the mind spirals, the breath becomes your anchor. Your mind may lie, your thoughts may race, but your breath tells the truth. It grounds you. It reminds you that you are alive, right here, right now, and that you are in control of how you meet this moment. The body doesn't lie. When you're stressed, your breath becomes fast, shallow, tight. It signals danger to the brain. The nervous system shifts into survival mode. But when you slow your breathing, when you take full, steady breaths, you send a different message. You tell your brain, there is no threat. You're safe, you're in control, and the body responds. The heart rate slows, the mind clears, the emotions soften. This isn't spiritual fluff. This is biological power. This is how you regulate yourself when the world refuses to. Breathing is the simplest tool you have, yet most ignore it. They try to fight their emotions with willpower alone, but willpower burns out. Awareness and breath last. You can't think your way out of panic, but you can breathe through it. You can't force your way into calm, but you can allow it by creating space. The breath creates that space. It gives you a break in the noise. It gives you 1 second longer than you had before. And that 1 second can change your life. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to be in a quiet room. You just need to breathe, with purpose, slowly, deeply, fully, in through the nose, hold, out through the mouth, repeat, again and again, until your mind follows your breath, until your thoughts begin to slow, until your emotions stop controlling the conversation. That is how you take back your power, not with resistance, but with presence. Every breath you take consciously is a reminder you are not helpless, you are not stuck, you are not lost. You are here, you are aware, and you are capable of guiding yourself through any moment. The storm may rage around you, but inside, you create stillness, not because the world gives it to you, but because you choose it, because you've trained for it. Don't underestimate the power of this one tool. It's not dramatic, it doesn't shout, but it works, and it's always available. The more you use it, the more natural it becomes. It becomes your habit, your default, your shield. When others react, you breathe. When the pressure builds, you breathe. When fear rises, you breathe. And in doing so, you rise above. This is calm in action. This is inner mastery in motion. This is your breath, your first, most powerful weapon in the battle for your peace. Use it, own it, return to it, again and again. Stillness isn't the absence of movement. It's the presence of power. When you pause, you're not stopping. You're preparing. You're stepping out of reaction and into intention. The pause is where everything changes. Between what happens and how you respond is a moment, and that moment is yours. Most people never use it. They live in immediate reaction, pushed and pulled by emotion, by stress, by ego. But when you pause, even for just one breath, you interrupt the cycle. You regain control. You create space. And in that space, you choose who you want to be. The pause doesn't need to be long. It needs to be conscious. Just a few seconds of awareness. A deep breath, a silent moment before the next move. That space is where your power lives. That space is where emotion settles, clarity sharpens, and your next words or actions are no longer driven by impulse, but by wisdom. This isn't weakness. It's the ultimate strength. The person who can pause when others rush is the person who leads, not by force, but by example, not by volume, but by presence. Every great response begins in the pause. Every mistake that could have been avoided, every word you wish you hadn't said, every reaction you regret, it all lacked one thing, a moment of stillness. You can change that. You don't need to master everything in your life overnight. You just need to master that one space, the pause before you speak, the pause before you act, the pause before you let emotion take the wheel. In that space is your transformation. It takes training. At first, your mind will resist. It will want to react fast, defend itself, rush through discomfort. But if you hold that space, if you breathe, wait, and observe, you start to rewire your mind. You teach yourself that urgency is not power, that speed is not clarity, that calm is not hesitation, it's precision, it's self-respect, it's strength in its purest form. The world rewards reactivity with attention, but attention is not peace, attention is not growth. Peace is found in discipline. Growth is found in awareness. And true power is found in stillness. When you practice the pause, you slow down time. You start to see things others miss. You hear what others talk over. You feel what others ignore. And from that place you rise, not with noise but with depth. This is not about silence. It's about power under control. It's about being able to act without being hijacked by emotion. The pause is not empty. It's full of potential, full of strength, full of conscious choice. The more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. It becomes your reset, your edge, your weapon against chaos. The storm may demand a reaction, but you offer presence. You offer calm, and that changes everything. In a reactive world, the one who pauses becomes unshakable. Become that one. Train the pause. Protect the space. That's where the real transformation begins. You are always one thought away from a completely different reality. What you tell yourself in the heat of the moment shapes everything that follows. When your mind is untrained, it grabs the worst interpretation, the most fearful meaning, the most damaging story. It tells you you're under threat, that you're not enough, that things are falling apart. And if you believe that voice, your body reacts, your emotions spike, your decisions suffer. You spiral. But if you train your thoughts, if you learn to reframe what you experience, you shift your entire state of being. The mind is a storyteller. It fills in the blanks with whatever pattern you've reinforced most. If you fed it fear, it will return fear. If you fed it doubt, it will echo doubt. But if you begin to feed it strength, truth, and purpose, it will return those too. This isn't about lying to yourself. It's about breaking the habit of surrendering to unhelpful thoughts. It's about interrupting the story before it becomes your identity. Because not every thought deserves your belief. Not every reaction deserves your energy. You get to decide what narrative lives in your mind. The moment something triggers you, the mind rushes in with explanations. Most of them are negative, distorted, exaggerated. That's survival mode talking. That's your brain trying to protect you by preparing for the worst. But if you pause and question it, if you challenge that first thought, you begin to weaken its control. You can ask, is this really true? Is there another way to see this? What if this isn't a threat, but an opportunity? What if this is just a test, not a failure? That shift in thought shifts your emotion. That shift in emotion shifts your behavior. And your behavior shapes your entire life. When you train your mind to reframe, you take your power back. You stop being a victim of interpretation. You stop being defined by circumstances. You become the author, not the reader. You decide what the moment means. You give it a new name, a new context, a new purpose. And that doesn't just change how you feel, it changes how you show up. You stop reacting out of fear. You start responding with vision. Every time you shift your thoughts from panic to possibility, you create calm. You prove to yourself that you're not helpless, you're not stuck, you're not broken. You are in control of what happens next. That's the truth fear tries to make you forget. But you know better now. You know that every stressful situation carries two stories, the one that weakens you and the one that strengthens you. Choose the one that builds you. Choose the one that grounds you. Choose the one that aligns with who you are becoming. You're not here to survive your thoughts. You're here to lead them. And every time you rewrite the story, you take one step closer to the unshakable calm you are meant to live with. Own your mind, or it will own you. Your body is not separate from your mind. It reflects what you think. It responds to what you feel. Every emotion you carry leaves an imprint on your posture, your breath, your voice, your presence. When the mind is anxious, the body collapses. Shoulders hunch, muscles tighten, breathing shortens. You look small, you feel small. But the opposite is also true. When you stand tall, when you breathe deep, when you move with purpose, your physiology tells your mind, I am safe, I am strong, I am capable. This is not theory, this is transformation through action. You don't have to wait until you feel confident to show up like you are. You can lead with the body. You can reverse the cycle. Shift your posture and your mind will follow. Straighten your back, open your chest, lift your chin. Breathe with intention. These are signals, not just to the world but to your nervous system. Signals that say, I am in control, I am calm, I am ready. Because the body doesn't just express emotion, it shapes it. It sets the tone. It leads the mind into the state you choose to live in. Most people don't realize how often their body is reinforcing their stress. Slouched posture, tense jaw, rapid movements. All of it feeding the brain the message that something is wrong, that you are under threat. But you're not. You're just stuck in a loop. A loop you can break by moving differently, by walking with power, by sitting with composure, by slowing down your gestures, by owning your space. Every small adjustment is a declaration. I'm not reacting, I'm responding. And this isn't about pretending, it's about aligning. Aligning your body with the person you're training to become. Calm isn't only a feeling, it's a presence. A quiet strength that radiates from within and becomes visible without a word. You know it when you see it. You can feel it in someone's posture, in their eyes, in the way they carry themselves. That's what you're building. Not just an internal calm, but a calm that the world can see. A calm that changes the energy in the room the moment you enter. Train your body to be calm, and your mind will learn to follow. Use every opportunity, every challenge, every stressful moment as a chance to reset your posture, deepen your breath, and ground yourself. Let your body become your anchor, your guide, your reminder of who you really are beneath the chaos. Because your physiology is not just reacting to life, it's helping you create it. And when you learn to control that, you become untouchable. You're not fragile. You're not meant to shrink. You are built to rise, to stand tall in the storm, to carry yourself with the unshakable energy of someone who knows their power. Step into that, own it, embody it. Let your body lead your mind into the calm, grounded, powerful presence you were always meant to live in. Calm is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice, A commitment you make moment after moment, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. You don't become unshakable overnight. You build it like a muscle, through repetition, through challenge, through presence. Every time you choose stillness over chaos, breath over reaction, awareness over panic, you are training your mind to respond differently. You are becoming someone who doesn't just talk about peace but lives it. Someone who doesn't just seek control, but owns it from the inside out. Nothing changes until you practice. Knowing how to stay calm isn't the same as being calm when it matters. The gap between knowledge and embodiment is where most people stay stuck. They understand the ideas, but they don't train them. And that's why pressure wins. That's why stress controls. But if you train like your peace depends on it, because it does, you will rise while others fall. You will breathe when others break. You will think when others panic. And you'll do it not by accident, but by design. Start small. Start with one moment each day where you pause before you speak. One breath where you would have reacted. One shift in posture when you feel tension. These may seem insignificant, but this is how transformation begins. One conscious rep at a time. Just like the body strengthens under resistance, the mind grows stronger under challenge. Every difficult situation is a training ground. Every stressor is an invitation to rise above. You don't need less pressure. You need deeper roots. Build rituals that center you. Protect your mornings. Reflect in the evenings. Create moments of silence where your mind can reset. These are not luxuries. They're lifelines. You can't train calm in chaos if you don't build calm into your life. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be consistent. Consistency turns practice into identity. And once calm becomes your identity, you no longer have to try. You just are. This is the quiet work most avoid. The slow, steady building of a mindset that doesn't crack under pressure. The world teaches you to chase speed, noise, distraction. But real power moves in silence. It's built in repetition. It's found in structure. Your rituals are your foundation. Your habits are your armor. Build them strong, and your mind will follow. You are not meant to live in emotional survival mode. You are not meant to spiral with every challenge. You are meant to lead yourself, to steady yourself, to rise beyond what once broke you. And you will, if you choose to practice. If you treat your inner calm with the same seriousness as your outer responsibilities. If you decide that peace is not something you wait for, but something you train for. You don't need perfect conditions. You need discipline. You don't need guarantees. You need commitment. Calm is earned through practice. And with every rep, you become more of who you were always meant to be. Focused, steady, powerful, and free. Your words shape your reality. What you say, how you say it, and the energy behind it either creates peace or invites chaos. Most people speak without thinking. They react with their mouths, using their voice as a weapon instead of a tool. But when your mind is trained for calm, your words become deliberate. You no longer speak from panic, insecurity, or ego. You speak from clarity, from power, from awareness. And that changes everything. Because calm communication doesn't just influence others, it transforms you. It reinforces the mindset you've worked so hard to build. Every time you raise your voice, every time you lash out, you leak energy. You hand over control, you abandon presence. But when you pause and choose your words with intention, you reclaim your power. You shift the energy of the moment. You stop being reactive and start becoming influential. That doesn't mean you suppress your truth. It means you deliver it with strength and stability. Not as an emotional outburst, but as a grounded expression of who you are and what you stand for. Calm communication is not weakness, it's mastery. It's knowing you don't have to yell to be heard. You don't have to interrupt to feel seen. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. Because you are already anchored in truth. And when you speak from that place, people listen. Not because you're louder, but because you're aligned. Alignment carries weight. Silence carries power. You begin to say less, but mean more. You no longer talk just to fill space. You speak to move with purpose. Your voice reflects your mind. When you train your inner world, your outer expression shifts automatically. Your tone softens but becomes firmer. Your pace slows but gains impact. Your words become fewer but cut deeper. You begin to speak in a way that calms the room, not adds to its noise. That's a gift, not just for you but for everyone around you. You become the mirror they didn't know they needed, the proof that strength and calm can exist in the same breath. When tension rises, your greatest advantage is your ability to respond, not react, to speak without defending, to listen without judging, to hold your ground without raising your voice. This is how you lead. This is how you hold space. And this is how you make your calm contagious. Because energy spreads, and when your energy is calm, it becomes a source of stability for others. That's leadership, not through authority but through presence. Every conversation is a choice. Every word is a decision. Let your voice be a reflection of the mind you've trained. Let your communication rise above noise, above panic, above fear. Speak like someone who owns their peace. Listen like someone who holds no need to prove. Let every interaction confirm the truth. You are calm, you are in control, and you are unshakable, no matter what's happening around you. That is your new standard. Speak from it. Live by it. Grow through it. Staying calm doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you choose not to be ruled by everything. It's not about shutting down your emotions, but opening up to them without letting them dictate your behavior. Most people believe calmness is about suppression, about pretending things don't bother you. But that only creates pressure under the surface. Eventually, it explodes. Real calm comes from emotional intelligence, the ability to observe your feelings without becoming them, to sit with discomfort, to acknowledge it, and still choose clarity over chaos. Your emotions are not your enemy. They are signals, not commands. Just because you feel anger doesn't mean you have to act on it. Just because you feel fear doesn't mean you must retreat. Calm is the space between stimulus and response, the gap where you decide what kind of person you want to be. That gap is everything, and the more you practice awareness, the wider that space becomes. You start catching yourself before you spiral. You start noticing the moment before the outburst, and that's where your power lives, in the pause, in the presence, in the decision to stay grounded. Emotional control doesn't happen through force, it happens through understanding. You stop running from your emotions. You turn toward them, study them, learn their patterns. You begin to see that most of your reactions are rehearsed, replays of past wounds, old habits, and unconscious beliefs. But once you see them clearly, they lose their grip. You no longer identify with the storm. You become the observer of it. You stop saying, "I am angry," and start saying, "I notice anger." That subtle shift changes everything. You go from being the emotion to mastering it. Every emotional wave is a chance to practice. When you feel triggered, that's your cue to lean in, not to react but to breathe, to scan your body, to ground yourself in the now. You ask what's really happening here, and what matters most right now. That awareness gives you options, and when you have options, you have freedom. You're no longer chained to the first reaction. You can respond with purpose, not panic. You owe it to yourself to get emotionally honest, to admit what you feel without shame, to sit with it without judgment. That's how you grow. That's how you evolve. Emotional maturity doesn't mean you feel less. It means you respond better. It means you stop being controlled by temporary emotions that create permanent damage. You become someone who holds space for their own storm and still chooses peace. The more you train this way, the more emotionally bulletproof you become. You'll face conflict and not fold. You'll feel fear and not flee. You'll be hit with pressure and still respond from center. That's the strength you've been building, and once you taste it, you won't go back. You'll realize that calm isn't just a feeling, it's a skill, and once mastered, it makes you unstoppable in any situation. When your emotions are under your command, your actions follow your purpose, not your impulses. That's when life starts shifting in your favor. You stop reacting out of fear and start responding with wisdom. You stop wasting energy on things that don't deserve your power. You start conserving that energy for what truly matters: growth, progress, clarity. That's what calm delivers, clarity. And clarity gives you direction. Without calm, your vision gets clouded. You can't make sound decisions when your mind is loud. You can't find peace when you keep feeding chaos with your attention. The world will always test you. People will misunderstand you. Stress will come uninvited. But none of that has the authority to control your inner world unless you hand it over. Calm is the refusal to hand it over. It's saying, "This may shake around me, but it won't shake me." It's the daily practice of choosing stillness over noise, peace over panic, truth over ego. That choice doesn't just protect you, it empowers you. Because when you no longer get pulled into emotional reactions, you become deeply focused. And focus is your gateway to greatness. You weren't born to chase every distraction. You weren't made to be consumed by anxiety, anger, or worry. You are built to rise above it. And that rise begins when you stop giving your emotions unlimited access to your behavior. Let them be felt, but don't let them drive. Let them pass through, but don't let them take over. That's emotional discipline. That's self-respect. When you can sit with discomfort without needing to escape it, you gain mastery. And when you gain mastery, everything begins to change. Your confidence, your mindset, your ability to stay consistent no matter the situation. Think about what it means to remain unshaken, while everything around you begs for a reaction. That's not passive, that's powerful. Because restraint is harder than release. Walking away takes more strength than striking back. Pausing takes more clarity than pushing forward blindly. And that's exactly what you're developing. A mind that isn't pushed around by external events. A mind that thinks clearly under pressure. A mind that doesn't collapse under stress, but leans into it and stands taller. There is no greatness without control, no peace without discipline, no strength without self-regulation. And every moment you stay calm, every time you resist the urge to react, you build more of that control. Not once, not twice, but as a lifestyle, as a mindset, as your identity. The goal is no longer just to survive the storm. The goal is to become the storm's calm center, the one part that never moves, never breaks, never loses focus. That's who you are becoming. That's the work you're doing right now. And that work is not just changing how you show up in difficult moments. It's shaping the life you're building with every decision, every breath, every silent act of inner power. Keep building it. Keep showing up. Your calm is your greatest weapon. Use it. Live it. Become it. The real measure of your strength isn't how loud you are when things are easy. It's how steady you stay when everything feels like it's slipping. Calm doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you refuse to be ruled by temporary emotions. It means you lead yourself, even when fear tries to take the wheel. When your heart is pounding, when the noise around you is deafening, when everything in you wants to run, scream, or lash out, that's the exact moment where calm becomes your power. Not silence, not indifference, but anchored presence. You feel everything, but you're owned by nothing. You were not made to be reactive. You were not built to be pulled in every direction by every emotion. You were made for more, and that more begins the moment you choose inner peace over emotional chaos. You don't need to respond to everything. You don't need to justify yourself to everyone. You don't need to prove your worth through emotional outbursts. Your worth is proven every time you rise above the pull to react and instead choose restraint, clarity, and strength. Every emotional reaction you control is a victory. Every time you pause instead of explode, you reclaim power. Every time you breathe through the discomfort, you sharpen your inner armor. Calm is a habit, not a gift. It's not given. It's earned through repetition, through setbacks, through pressure. It's built in silence, in solitude, in those unseen moments when no one else is watching, but your future is listening. And when you practice calm over and over, it stops being something you have to reach for. It becomes who you are. This isn't about pretending you're unaffected. This isn't about bottling things up. This is about building a core so solid that storms can touch the surface, but never shake the foundation. This is about facing life with a new energy, a calm energy that cuts through noise, that dissolves conflict, that sees beyond what's urgent and focuses on what truly matters. People who master calm don't escape the storm. They understand it. They move through it with purpose. They keep their head when others lose theirs, and in doing so, they become the anchor for themselves and others. When you train your mind to be calm, you gain access to parts of yourself you've never seen before. Strength you didn't know you had, ideas that only appear in stillness, power that's been buried under noise. You unlock clarity, direction, and influence. You stop being tossed around by life and start steering it. Calm is your edge in a world that's always rushing, always shouting, always reacting. Let others lose themselves in chaos. You stay grounded. Let others chase noise. You seek truth. Let others fall apart. You rise with precision. You are not your fear. You are not your panic. You are not your doubt. You are the calm beneath it all. And every breath you take in that calm becomes a step closer to the life you were always meant to live. You don't need perfect conditions to be at peace. You just need a disciplined mind. Calm is not found when life slows down. It's built when you learn how to slow yourself down in the middle of it all. Life won't wait for you to feel ready. It won't pause for you to regain control. So you must train your mind to operate powerfully, even when everything feels uncertain. Calm isn't an escape. It's a decision. A decision to stop being a prisoner of your emotions. A decision to stop handing your power to every situation, every person, every inconvenience. You take it back the moment you choose how you respond. That's the difference between being led by life and leading your life. Most people react. Most people break when things don't go their way. They panic, they complain, they run. But not you. You don't shrink when pressure hits. You sharpen. You don't collapse under stress. You center yourself. You don't fall into the noise. You rise above it. That's your superpower, being steady in a world that's always spinning. You're not here to survive chaos. You're here to move through it with certainty. You're here to become unshakable. Every time your thoughts try to race, bring them back. Every time your emotions scream for attention, acknowledge them, then lead them. That's real power. Because anyone can be calm when everything feels good, but true calm is forged in fire. When your plans fall apart, when people disappoint you, when nothing makes sense, that's your moment. That's when the training becomes real. Because peace isn't about the absence of conflict. It's about mastering presence inside the conflict. The ability to stay rooted when the winds pick up. The ability to pause, breathe, and choose what happens next, rather than being dragged into chaos. The strongest people in the world are not the loudest. They're the ones who've learned to master themselves. The ones who faced fear, disappointment, and pressure, and turned it into strength. That strength is inside you, waiting to be unlocked. But you have to train it, daily, relentlessly. Because a calm mind isn't given, it's earned. It's built through discipline, through repetition, through choosing not to react, even when everything in you wants to, through becoming intentional about what you let into your mind, your space, your heart. Every situation is a test. Will you let it own you, or will you own yourself? Will you rise above the noise, or get consumed by it? The choice is always yours, and when you keep choosing calm, it becomes your default. Not forced, not faked, but real, grounded, natural. It becomes who you are, not what you try to be. And from that place, nothing can shake you. You walk into storms without flinching. You face pressure with clarity. You meet life's chaos with grace, because you've done the inner work. And once you've mastered your mind, no outside force can ever defeat you. The real battlefield is not the world around you. It's the space between your ears. That's where victory begins, or where it dies. Because every challenge you face, every pressure you feel, starts as a thought, and that thought will either be a seed of peace or a spark of panic. If your mind is undisciplined, it becomes a runaway train, dragging you into anxiety, fear, and emotional chaos. But when you take control, when you train it to pause, to breathe, to observe rather than react, that's when your power returns. It's not about suppressing emotion. It's about mastering it. You feel it fully, but you don't become it. You acknowledge the storm, but you don't let it inside your home. A calm mind is the foundation of all greatness. Because when your mind is steady, your actions become clear. Decisions are no longer fueled by fear or impulse. They come from a place of strength, of alignment, of purpose. You stop chasing external validation and start acting from internal conviction. You no longer need the world to calm down for you to function. You carry the calm with you, no matter how loud the world becomes. That's freedom. That's leadership. That's the result of mental training, not wishful thinking. You've been taught that strength looks loud, but real strength is quiet. It doesn't panic. It doesn't overreact. It observes. It calculates. It responds with intention. That's what separates those who lead their lives from those who are led by emotion. And you are here to lead. You are here to rise, not through force but through clarity, not through aggression, but through awareness. Your ability to remain calm when others can't is not weakness. It's dominance. It's mastery. And it sends a message louder than words ever could. To stay calm is not to deny reality. It's to face it without losing yourself in it. It's to look difficulty in the eye and say, I choose how this ends. That's power. And every time you practice this, every time you pause instead of reacting, every time you ground yourself instead of spiraling, you are rewiring your brain for resilience. You are building the muscle that will carry you through every storm, not just once, but every single time. You won't always control what happens, but you will always control how you process it. That's your edge. That's your freedom. That's the one thing no one can take from you. And once you realize that your peace isn't conditional, it's intentional, everything changes. You stop needing perfect circumstances. You stop waiting for life to be easy. You become the calm in the chaos, the eye in the storm, the one who moves forward with clarity while others hesitate. This is not a theory, it's a practice, and you already have everything inside you to begin. The moment you stop letting your thoughts run wild is the moment you start living with power. That's where transformation begins. That's where your true strength is revealed. Power without self-discipline is chaos waiting to happen. You can have ambition, drive, and raw potential, but without self-control, it all burns out before it ever becomes greatness. Discipline is not restriction. It is liberation. It is the ability to act in alignment with your values, even when the moment tries to pull you in 100 different directions. It is the daily decision to honor your future self more than your current comfort. Without it, dreams dissolve into excuses, and goals fade into frustration. But with it, you become unstoppable. Not because everything becomes easy, but because you become stronger than your impulses. You rise above the noise of temporary emotions, and choose what truly matters. When you train discipline into your life, you stop depending on motivation to act. You stop waiting for the perfect mood, the right energy, the ideal conditions. You move because it's time, not because it feels good. You show up because it matters, not because it's convenient. That shift, when your actions are no longer dictated by how you feel, but by who you've committed to become, that's when your life begins to change. And not slightly, radically, because discipline is the bridge between intention and impact, between desire and transformation. Your future is being shaped by what you do when no one is watching, by the small, silent decisions, the choice to stay focused when your mind wants to wander, the choice to keep pushing when everything inside you says quit. That's where identity is forged, not in the grand moments, but in the quiet ones, the ones that test your character when the spotlight is off. And if you can win those moments, you can win your life. Discipline is not something you're born with, it's something you build, brick by brick, habit by habit, choice by choice. Every excuse you've ever told yourself is just a lie wrapped in comfort. I'm too tired. It's too hard. I'll start tomorrow. They sound reasonable in the moment, but they steal from your future. They rob you of the pride that comes from self-respect. And the truth is, no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you dream about. It's on you. And that should empower you, not discourage you. Because it means you don't have to wait anymore. You don't have to ask permission. You can begin right now by doing the thing you don't feel like doing, because your future is worth it. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. You will fail, you will fall. But if you keep showing up, if you keep choosing growth over comfort, you will become someone unrecognizable to your past self. Someone with clarity, strength, and unwavering momentum. That is who you were meant to be. And that person is not found. That person is built. With every disciplined choice you make, you are carving a path forward that leads to freedom, to fulfillment, and to power that lasts.